So much, Mr. Monshanakaja. Guest of honor and the high table, you may be seated. We may all be seated. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to this very special night that we're calling the Night of Conversations and Gratitude. Obviously, one man brings us here tonight. His name is Amos Malupenga. We helped him launch his book titled Conversations with Memorable Personalities. I'm your director of ceremonies for this evening. My name is Costa Mwanza. I was hoping I could really stand here, but if I stand here, most of you at the back there will not be able to see me because of my height. Only Mr. Nakachinda with his binoculars will be able to see me here. So you forgive me. I can go up here. I can go up here. I'd like to recognize at this point our guest of honor, His Excellency, the former President, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. You're welcome, sir, and it's a pleasure to have you. It's a very tough call with so many dignitaries, so many presidents, so many ambassadors. I do not know how we're going to go with this protocol. I do not know, but I'd like to say to all the former vice presidents here, I was informed that Her Honor the former vice president will be here, but I'm told unfortunately she may not join us, so I'll recognize former Vice President Dr. Nervous Mumba. You're welcome, sir. I'd like to also recognize current serving ministers. I can see the presence of Minister Charles Mulungu as well. You're welcome, sir. To also former cabinet ministers, I see quite a number here as well. You're welcome. Leaders of various political parties present. I know that the acting president of the PF is here. You're welcome, sir. The president of, not no longer the Rainbow Party, is it? The new, you need to forgive me, sir. I really am not very familiar with the new party, but Honorable Kabir Pasai, you're welcome. And obviously President Sakiwa Scott as well, you are welcome. You will forgive me if I have not recognized other dignitaries, but I know that there are ambassadors represented here. I can see among those the EU Ambassador Sir, you're welcome. Other former ambassadors, and really the man of the moment himself, the author of the book, Mr. Malupenga. Thank you for bringing us all here together. But more importantly, I'll be failing in my duties if I do not recognize some of the most important people here tonight, members of the press. Because Mr. Malupenda, without the press and the platform you were given, this book would not have happened tonight. So to my colleagues from the media, you're welcome as well. A big hand for them. And I see so many of them, seniors to me, and as well, those that have practiced alongside me, and juniors that continue to come through on the platform. Tonight, like I said earlier, is a bit of a different night, so once we're done with the protocols, allow me now to get into what the author has asked me to do, is to get interactive. It's a night of interaction. The book is full of conversations. So there are so many of you that I want to talk to, and I'll be coming around really to talk to you. Don't shy away from the microphone, because that's what this book is all about. We go down memory lane with so many conversations, and quite an interesting cover, really, this book has, of former President Michael Sata. I was trying to see this morning, was that a pita or a concert? Honorable Ubinda knows better, because he made a promise to stop smoking once they formed government. I've read that in the book. It's not me saying. It's not me saying. At this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to call upon the author of the book, Mr. Malupenda. A big round of applause for him. And we can get him a microphone. Quickly, let's give him a microphone. We're going to do this in a bit of a different style. More often, the author is given a chance to give a speech and welcome the guest of honor who will do that, but yes, we're going to do it a bit differently. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
You're welcome to your book launch.
Thank you.
And it's a pleasure to host you.
It's a pleasure to be interviewed by one customer.
You're not scared?
I'm nervous.
Relax.
Not this nervous.
Not this nervous. Anyway, how many here have had a chance to read the book?
Chapters.
Just by a show of hands, how many have had a chance to read the book?
I can see Fisher there. And my son, I don't know if he should declare interest.
Well, Fisher has already read the book.
Yeah, he's there.
Boston, Fisher. If I ask him any question about a chapter, he would not know. I know how people from religious behave. Check with it. I'll ambush him later. Okay. But anyway, I must say that this is a very, very good attendance. But what strikes me is, more often than ever, it's very difficult to bring about people from different walks of life in such a manner, especially politicians of different political divide. How did you manage to do it?
Okay, before we do, someone with a copy of the book, just...
I have mine.
We are just warming up, going into the conversation.
Yeah.
Now, if you see on the flap, inside flap there, I'm quoting a scripture, Jeremiah 10:23. It does not belong to man who is walking, even to direct his step. I realized that after the national anthem, we just went straight into the program. We didn't say a prayer. So that's how I manage, I pray. And once I pray, everything is falling in place. So, since you have not said the prayer, I doubt the night can be successful. So, let me look around and see.
Don't worry, we'll call upon
ambush someone.
Let's ambush Dr. Reverend Mulungu. He's always ready.
No, they are used to his ceremonies.
He's pointing to somebody. Who is he pointing to?
I can see my good friend. You come and introduce yourself and go straight into the prayer, just to ensure that whatever we do is to the glory of God. Please.
Thank you for reminding me of that. Very important.
Introduce yourself and say a prayer for us. Then I'll be able to answer the question.
My name is Fred Mufuzi. My name is Fred Mufuzi. He's a friend. He's a brother. I think that will be enough. Loving Father Jehovah, You are the creator of heaven and earth and everything in them. You are the source of life and sustain of it. Father, we come before you as we help our friend Amos to launch his book. We now entrust this gathering into your hand and pray that you may safeguard all of us and see to it that what we do will be as per arrangement and in order. You are a God of order. We pray that everything that happens here takes place according to order, so that your name can be glorified. For now, we leave this gathering under your care, and this is the prayer that we submit to you through the name of Jesus Christ, your Son. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for that prayer.
Yeah, now we can conversate.
I'm in charge of this interview, so don't tell me how it goes.
I'm obliged.
Thank you so much. So I was asking, really, Mr. Malupenga, quite a very outstanding, attendance, and we have so many dignitaries and people from all backgrounds and all walks of life. It's not easy for one person to bring these people together. What does it take? What did it take?
Yeah, that's why we have to pray. That is what it takes. When you pray, everything will just fall in place. And that is why this night is titled in the way it is, a night of conversations and gratitude. So it's a night for me, to talk about a book entitled Conversations with Memorable Personalities, but at the same time to give gratitude for the same reasons I've mentioned. It's not easy to bring all dignitaries in here in this manner. And once it happens, you know that there is a hand of God in it. And so I want to thank all of you in here, and there's so many of you who are not here, just for your contribution in my personal and professional development. I am where I am because of, excuse me, what
Can someone bring him some water, please?
Please, I told you I was nervous.
I can see how I'm really intimidated. Somebody bring him some water, please.
All right.
The ambassador.
Please.
Ambassador, will you thank you so much?
Let Nick just deliver. I don't trust this guy. I just wanted to be served by the ambassador. This is the High Commissioner, the British High Commissioner to Zambia.
Serving you with water.
Please. So, Napangation. Nick, I'll tell you when you go to play football what that means. Napangation, I'll tell you what it means. Or you can ask the floor to tell you. Yeah, so really, this night is just for me to thank God for everything that He has done for me in my life, the successes I've scored from my time in the journalism sector, going into government, the people I've interacted with, all those good stories I was writing, I was not dreaming them. They were coming from all you good sources who are giving me good quotes. Honorable Nawak, Edgar, I can say we would fight, crash, write about this, but those stories were selling, and that is how I made my name.
Now you say, really, that's what I was asking. How many have read the book? Because I beg to differ. You say good stories. I've gone through this book, and those of you who remember the days of the Post, can you really agree that they were good stories?
Depending on where you are standing.
Yes, and that leads to my next question as a journalist. Really, how do you manage years later to bring people that I feel you injured? Really, who writes titles like that? Really, have you gone through this book? Guys, let me read some of the titles. Let me read some of the titles in here, really. Bathing with my wife. My marriage failed because I'm a high flyer in Kandulu.
She's here.
She's here. Then the late Dr. Manda answers, failure had nothing to do with high flying. Interesting story. Edith Nawakwi, I'm versatile because I can sell at the market and eat with kings. Wow. Interesting. There are many more interesting titles here that I like. There's an interesting one here by State Council Eric Siruanga. I love it. It says, the whiskey, because you know Eric loves his whiskey, right? Where's that one there?
It must be this one. So you know, I know my page is better.
I just want to see whether you're the one who authored the book. So it says, I get more out of whiskey than whiskey does out of me. You've written, you know, about people like that, and you still manage to bring them here?
Well, that's why I keep going back to the same answer. When you trust in God, you have faith in God, nothing is impossible. Even those you interact with. Yes,
can you imagine what's in this book? Leaving the Bunjimfuka. Tell us about that government. President Lungu, did you know that there was a government in Bunjimfuka Road?
Yes, there was. So I was saying one of my former colleagues tried to do a review of that chapter, and he says quitting the Bunjimfuka and going for the real government. He said something, Choice Nyango, he must be here. He would tell us about, he did talking about my transition from the Bunjimfuka government into the real government, which was more visible. The Bunjimfuka was invisible.
But it was a government.
Of course, very powerful.
Anyway, those are the interesting stories that you find in this book, and trust me, from the moment I started reading, I've had quite a number of sleepless nights. It's a masterpiece, I don't want to flatter you, but we just want to give a teaser. So we need to ensure that all of you get a copy. I hope we have enough.
Yeah, we have enough for now.
Because I've attended book launches where it's just the cover. Inside, the book has not been printed.
You dare me, I will bring all the cartons in here.
So let's make sure that we buy a copy. And we'll continue interacting a little later. But I'll leave you just to say a few words from your heart. I know there's so many people you want to thank and acknowledge. And obviously, in a short while, we will be calling upon the guest of honor. So I'll let you say something.
Thank you very much, Costa. Allow me to ride on the protocols already established by the MC in the interest of time. I already behind time, and I know His Excellency, the former President, also has a very tight schedule. It was a very difficult time for me to convince him to come at very short notice. I pleaded that even if you came for 5 minutes, that would be it. So I want to keep my word so that we don't hold on to him longer than expected, because he had other activities. And so allow me to recognize the high table through His Excellency and all distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me just say, all you who have come to witness the book, the launch of this book, like I did indicate, I want to say very little about the book, because for the last 2 months we've been doing a lot of promotions and talking about the contents of the book on our Facebook page. So you can refer to that, you'll find a lot of stuff we have said. But for tonight, I really just wanted to thank all of you who have made it in my life. Without you, I was not going to be where I am today. And I want to thank you in this manner, because usually we like saying all the good things when someone dies. But we forget that when one is dead, they are conscious of nothing. So we can say all the good things, take all the good flowers, they will not be able to see and appreciate. So for me, I would like to thank all of you, because in one way or the other, including the so many who are not there, who are not here, you have contributed. If I have to start telling stories about all of you in here, those who are not here, the guest of honor will be upset to say, you said 5 minutes, because we have loads and loads to say. So it's difficult to find appropriate words really to show my gratitude. And that is why I thought I could just put it in words, very few, and just know that I'm very grateful. All of you have contributed. Even this book, without those interviews you gave me, this book was not going to be here. Some of you gave me guidance from the background, which made me succeed. But like they say, without family, you cannot really succeed. So I want to also seize the opportunity to thank my wife and children for the support and love over the years. And again, I would want to thank her publicly because, again, in Bemba, my mother would say, Costa, you will tell them later. So it's a given that either herself or myself can go earlier than the other. You don't want when that time comes, then you say, this lady we are putting to death, she was so loving, and then she's not there too. So I want to thank my wife Betty for the support and love over the years, and I think I've been able to make it because of the support she has given me. I always have a tough time every morning when I wake up to dress. Then she says, no, you can't dress like this. You have to. Then it's a fight. Sometimes you have to make up faces just to make progress. So, Betty, you can just stand so they can see it. So that's my wife. I'll introduce them in the way they came into my life. So I met my wife first. Then I lived with her for some time. Then we had the baby. So my firstborn is standing there, who is also my cameraman, Sonda. Okay. Is Sonda. I gave him an English name, Raymond, as a middle name, but he has changed things, so he calls himself Raymond. After that, the sister Chipo, I don't know where is she? Okay, come this way, we can see. And the last one, where is Matipa? Where is she? Oh, I thought they were scattered together. So, this is my family, and I also want to thank them. Without them and the support, I was going to have difficulties. To put this piece together, I only worked on it every December when we had family holidays, and so they would help me with some ideas, even those excerpts we were doing. Okay, since you are standing there, just come and stand with me. So we would add, you remember we are putting fun fact, add facts, this and that. Now, the lady who came into my wife first, she has been toppled. So we'd argue, no, is that fun? No, that is not fun. So we can't call it a fun fact. So this is my family. I also want to thank them for the support. Without their support, I was not going to be where I am. So without further ado, please take your seats. You can scatter again.
Before you go, very quickly, sorry, the family can go and sit down. Before he goes, because he said without further ado, I had a privilege of interviewing Amos before the launch of this book. And there's one important story you told that I want us to tell here. That the original manuscript for this book got stolen.
Yes.
Let's tell that story.
Well, it was a very painful experience because I started working on it in 2014, and that incident happened in 2017 when we were in Barcelona, Spain. And after a day's hard work, we decided to do a bit of some tourism, so we went to Camp Nou for some tourism. We were there for over 2 hours. Coming out, we found the vehicle where we had died was broken into, the office bag which had the laptop and everything stolen. So I was shattered. That night, I was just trembling, I couldn't sleep. When I came back, I just said, I've given up. But I was communicating with my wife and a few friends, and but I particularly remember what Chiwambaganyama told me, no, don't give up. You will be amazed that if you surge forward, you will come up with a manuscript which will be better than what you have lost. And I did reluctantly. I think it was only after Chiwamba said that to me that I decided, okay, I will pick it up and proceed. That was 2018, so I started rebuilding 2018, 19, 2020, 2021, and now 2022, it is here.
This book talks and teaches more about investigative journalism, right?
You can say that.
You can say that. So I've investigated a little bit. I spoke to some colleagues in Barcelona. They tell me the original manuscript was left in a bar.
That is not investigative journalism.
That's madness. Anyway, it's a night of conversations. Anyway, you can conclude on your remarks so that we move on to the next part of the program.
Please, we are here. I can't conclude now because I can just come back and say something. So you can just excuse me for now.
Yeah, excuse. Thank you, sir.
Please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mulungushi, the author of the book. Before we quickly get to calling on the guest of honor, obviously, who will be invited by Mr. Mulungushi. Like I said, this is a conversation tonight. It's one of interaction, and I hope that the people I'm calling upon will be very free to come and interact with myself. And author, you said you're talking to most of these people. So at this point in time, I'd like to call upon Honorable Charles Mulungushi, because on page 619, there's an article, I can bring value to leadership in any capacity. That's what you said. Honorable Mulungushi, you're welcome, please. A big hand. Honorable Mulungushi is currently serving as our Minister of Infrastructure. And obviously that interview was given many years back, many years ago. It's a pleasure to have you, sir. Good evening. Thank you, sir. Good evening, Honorable.
Good evening, Costa and guest of honor, Your Excellency. Good evening.
It's always difficult to interview Honorable Mulungushi for me because he's been like a father figure. I grew up playing football in his backyard way back in Mulungushi, so it's difficult for me to really ask the tough questions. So it will be a family affair. I don't know if you had a chance to read the book, but would you recall the contents of the articles and interactions with Amos then as a journalist?
Yes, very much so. I believe it was the year 2008, 2008. And at the time, the Post newspaper was very, very, very cardinal in the promotion of contrary views. In other words, I'm referring to the opposition. And at the time, I was a member of parliament, I was an independent member of parliament, which is part of the opposition, together with the PF. And we didn't have access to the public media, Times of Zambia, Daily Mail, not so much the NBC. But the Post really wanted to project yourself. That was the paper to go to. And so I was privileged when Amos Mulungushi decided to, and he was the managing director of Post, we decided to invite me to have this article.
Would you also agree that the Post, in a way, since you say it was very cardinal, was it government in a sense?
No, it was private. It was private.
We'll ask the author. But also, what is interesting as well is that this book is capturing memories, but also for telling, history. Because as we look back, would you say this article in its title is a testimony now that you're serving? I mean, you've served in the private sector, you're working, in the mines, you served as member of parliament, that you think you can bring something to leadership in any capacity. Is this a true testimony of what has happened?
Well, the reason why I'm here is this article, which was done so many years ago, maybe 14 years ago, reflects who I am. I consider myself to be an honest person. When I say something, it's because I've analyzed it. It comes from the bottom of my heart. And with people like that, they very rarely change their positions when they are on this journey of life. So even though it was 14 years ago, when I look at the article again, the principles that talked about there, I think they still reflect who I am even today. So when I say that I can bring contribution to any position in which I'm asked to serve. At the time, I was a member of parliament. I was on many committees of parliament, but the one that was known by many people was I was the chairperson, the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. And I think that committee, that was from 2006, the year 2006, managed to highlight the role of Parliament in the four duties of Parliament, which is legislation, appropriation, holding government to account, and the representation. And the Public Accounts Committee is a constitutional committee, and it's the one that holds the executive to account. So it has a constitutional mandate, and I was privileged to be the chairperson of that committee. And I think we executed our role very, very effectively. And it also helped because we had a very vibrant independent media, such as the Post, who were able to cover us during our deliberations and so on. So it is from that angle that I really pay gratitude to people like Amos, who were then working for the independent media at the time.
Thank you so much. A big hand for Minister Mulungu. Like I said, tonight is all about interaction. I want to use that little... Forgive me for that. Sorry for that. So I'll move here because I've been told by the author that we really need to use this set. So when His Excellency, former President Lungu, was getting to the podium, I'm very observant. Your Excellency, you're still jogging? Because I saw him just jog through those stairs like nothing. So I'll ask my next guest to jog very quickly up to him. Mr. Chagwa, can you jog here, please? Yeah, I know I caught you off guard. Can you jog over here, please? Yeah, a big round of applause for him. I know you were not expecting me to call you out. Not at all, but Mr. Malupenda wanted you to have a small discussion with me.
Oh, okay.
This is Mr. Chagwa. He's an author as well, a renowned economic commentator as well as consultant. Have you